Idaho is in one of 6 states that does not require all-day kindergarten, let alone any kindergarten at all. Could you imagine not laying down, taking a nap? I remember those days. I wish I had them now. I would love to trade those with my son, who actually just got out of kindergarten. All-day kindergarten is imperative to beginning your educational foundation. If you can't get that spark, started when they're young, later and later grades, they just don't have it. And they just kind of let it roll away. They don't care about it as much and don't understand how imperative that it is. All-day kindergarten leads to a better long-term education than half-day kindergarten does. Today I'm going to be discussing about why all-day kindergarten is better and it should be mandatory across all 50 states. Half-day kindergarten, they're not getting the time and attention like they do in all-day kindergarten, which results in lower test scores. I mean, imagine trying to wrangle 5, 6-year-olds in a classroom setting and hurrying them up from one thing to the next to the next. I have a 5-year-old, that's just not going to happen. According to the NEA article, which is the National Education Association, the full-day kindergarten loses achievement gaps. All-day kindergarten scored significantly higher on just your basic tests, your math, your reading, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, your colors, your shapes. In one Indiana school district, the kindergartners that only went a half day, they scored significantly lower than the kids that went all day. There's not enough time for the teachers to teach everything that is needed, as opposed to the half day. There's some kindergarten programs that they're fewer than 2 hours a day. I can't even imagine that. That's just crazy to me. Trying to teach one kid or a group of kids ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in 2 hours. They're never going to get that. As opposed to an averaging of 6 hours a day, where you can transition and you can give them different scenarios. You go to the store one day, you go to the farm one day, and they're learning through interaction and play, but they have to have those hours to do that. And when they don't get their education. The average, give or take, especially in Idaho, is about 3 hours for a half-day program, where a full day is anywhere from 5 to 6 hours a day. The teachers are trying to cram all of this learning into the short time period, which doesn't allow them to interact with the kids and get to really know them. They don't also get to identify some of the children that are more at risk, meaning they might have a family stress. They might not understand or learn at a rate as opposed to the other kids. So they don't gain the knowledge that they're going to need when they're in 3rd and 4th grade. If students are given their proper educational foundation, then they suffer later in these grades, which of course, in the core standards, in 3rd grade, they get the first assessment. If they don't have their basics down, they're not going to score well on that. If they don't receive good scores and they don't get that good feedback, it's going to set them up for failure later in the different grades. In Philadelphia, there was a study of over 17,000 students found that by the time they reached 3rd or 4th grade with the former full-day kindergarten, they were more than twice as likely as children without any kindergarten experience and 26% more likely than graduates of a half-day program to have made it without repeating a grade. I mean, that right there just blows my mind. Me personally, for my child, if he got to that grade and didn't have the education and received low scores, I would probably hold him back. I think a lot of parents would, so they could get that educational foundation. According to the National Association of Social Psychologists Center website, particularly children who have limited learning and social experiences are at risk for later difficulties owing to their developmental delays, their family stresses. A good quality full-day kindergarten program can offer the best opportunity to reduce these impacts from the very beginning. Again, with that good foundation, you can build a strong building. But with a poor foundation, you can't learn your ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, or you struggle with that, you might be a little bit crumbly in your building, which would create difficulty later. With the all-day kindergarten, The struggling students are more of an at-risk, and with full-day kindergarten, it allows the teachers to identify. They can identify and they can work and they can set a plan in motion with the parents and with the child to try to help them learn better. Whereas a half a day, the teachers are just cranking through it. They don't even take the time, because they really don't have the time, to identify and work with the plan and develop something that's going to work for that student. Full-day kindergarten receives more emotional and social benefits. According to the NEA article, all-day kindergarten, they can take full advantage of additional learning time with their social, emotional, and intellectual. A lot of these are a second mom. The teacher kind of becomes like a second mom or a parental figure, giving them that safe place that they can learn and stuff. And teachers prefer the all-day kindergarten because it allows them to connect and it allows them to develop a relationship. And once they get a good relationship with the students, then they can really understand and build their ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and their basic needs that you need for later grades. Their half-day kindergarten doesn't allow enough time for this to happen. And so it's just, to me, more of a common sense thing. We need full-day kindergarten. I would even probably say it's more important than this preschool that is being talked about a lot more now that needs to be mandatory. First, we need to start with our kindergarten. We need to make that full day, not just half day. We need to give them a good foundation so that later they can, in 3rd and 4th grade, get those good tests, understand what they're doing, have their reading, have their math, have their colors, their shapes, etc. down so that they can go on to the next phase. In summary, full-day kindergarten is more imperative to our children than half-day kindergarten. It allows the time that the teachers need. And it's so important to allow them to identify, to bond with our students, to give them what they need. The future generations, they need to have this so that they can have the best educational foundation so that they can bloom later.